Oh my gosh, there's gunshots.
It's the shooting captured on real-time audio. Was this self-defense or a crime? But on October 18, 2015, in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, 31-year-old drummer Corey Jones was driving south on the I-95 freeway. He begins to have car trouble and pulls off to the side of the road. Happens all the time across this country, and no one bats an eye.
Thank you for calling AT&T Roadside Assistance. This is Maddie. May I have your mobile number to better assist you?
This call would become a crucial piece of evidence in a major case.
I'm off the PGA southbound exit.
As Jones stays on the line with roadside assistance, little does he or the operator realize what's about to happen. Officer Nouman Raja, a 7-year police veteran, had been working an undercover surveillance operation nearby. Raja takes notice of Jones' car and decides to investigate. He believed the vehicle was abandoned. Dressed in plain clothes and with no badge, Raja parks his unmarked van, gets out, and approaches Jones.
The mode that he goes into is to drive the wrong way up this ramp, park himself diagonally off the corner, the front corner of the car. Now, this is a practice that you would do in a tactical emergency when you've got to block a fleeing vehicle or a potentially fleeing vehicle. To say then that, oh, I thought the car was abandoned, would be inconsistent with his actions.
What he doesn't know is the next several minutes are being recorded by roadside assistance.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Undercover Palm Beach Gardens police officer Nouman Raja opened fire on stranded motorist Corey Jones, ultimately killing him. Now the question is, why did Raja kill Jones? As investigators sort through the evidence, it becomes clear something isn't right. First, there's Raja's phone call to 911 dispatch, which he dials in approximately 33 seconds after firing the last round.
Stop that f***ing gun right now!
911.
Hey, this is Gardens Alpha 1. I just got one down. I just shot one person. I'm at that off-ramp right behind Doubletree. Black male.
There are inconsistencies in what he's telling that dispatcher versus what we hear and heard on the audio.
On the off-ramp, get me some units. I've lost contact with him. I don't know where he is.
All right, you got it, buddy.
He's claiming, I don't know where Jones went. I lost the line of sight on him. That may appear to be inconsistent. He had put several rounds downrange and into Jones.
Where's your radio? Where's your radio, Raj?
My radio's in the van right now. I don't have it with me. That's why I'm on the phone.
All right, stay on the phone, buddy.
Any well-trained police officer, well-meaning police officer, understands the key importance of having that radio on you when you're going to act in a lawful capacity. So, number one, the very fact that we're talking about him calling 911 on his cell phone is an indication that something was wrong with his mindset when he approached Jones's vehicle.
He knew that call was going to be recorded, so he made sure to play up his version of events to create the record that Raja was acting in self-defense.
According to Raja, Jones pulled a gun on him.
I came out, I saw him come out with a handgun, I gave him commands, I identified myself, and he turned, pointed the gun at me, started running, I shot him.
Investigators would find Jones' licensed handgun at the site, but they would conclude that it hadn't been fired and was positioned 125 feet from Jones' body. The autopsy would reveal that Raja shot Jones 3 times, hitting him in both arms and the fatal shot going through his heart and lungs. The morning after the incident, Raja conducts a crime scene walkthrough with investigators.
Can you go over here and show us where you were when this happened?
He explains that after approaching Jones' vehicle, Jones threatened him with a gun. That's when Raja says he used deadly force in self-defense.
And I immediately said, hey man, police, can I help you? And at which point, that's when he jumped back and I saw him draw the gun right at me, right after I said the word police, and it was just like, and I was yelling, I was like, drop the gun, drop the gun. And I saw him go like this. And I remember saying to myself, aim. I still remember, and I was like, aim! And I put that front sight right in his center mass, and I squeezed, I believe 2 rounds.
I sense an overemphasis on certain facts that may be designed to help Officer Raja and his story, because you could clearly argue that he is lying during that recap with the detectives.
You were dressed exactly like this?
Exactly.
Nothing more, nothing less?
Exactly like this, and I had my holster, which was covered.
Was your covered?
You know, the reason why cop cars have all of the lights and the protect and serve and the numbers, and the reason why, you know, cops wear these uniforms is to make it very clear to the public who they are, to prevent this exact situation. Otherwise, someone who, you know, cuts you off in the middle of the night and approaches you with a gun is just some stranger. How would you know him as law enforcement? Corey Jones did absolutely nothing wrong. And in fact, he was a positive pillar of society. He was a musician. He was a family man. And this is exactly why officers need to be better trained on how to identify their own implicit biases and how to remove them from their decision-making processes.
Despite Raja's claims that this was self-defense, his version of events was contradicted by other evidence, particularly Jones' roadside assistance call. Raja was eventually charged with manslaughter by culpable negligence and attempted first-degree murder for the rounds that missed Jones.
That's how law enforcement officers are trained. It's about center of mass, neutralizing the threat. You're not trained to kill, you're trained to neutralize the threat. Once that threat's been neutralized, you keep firing, you've got an intent other than dealing with the threat.
Raja's trial became a back and forth, with the prosecution arguing the defendant carelessly shot an innocent person to death.
And that's a verdict finding him guilty as charged of being a reckless killer and for trying to murder Corey Jones.
It was a perfect storm that turned deadly when Mr. Jones pointed that handgun. Mr. Raja, in defending himself, fired his handgun.
There's a huge difference between trying to think about what happened and intentionally saying something to help you get away with what you did.
Nouman Raja became the first Florida police officer in 30 years to be convicted for an on-duty shooting.
As to count one, we find a defendant guilty of manslaughter while armed with a firearm. As to count two, we found a defendant guilty of attempted first-degree murder as charged in the information.
Raja may have been found guilty, but what happens next for him? Raja was sentenced to 25 years in prison.
25 years is a tough road, but I have to tell you, it's consistent with the evidence in this case.